In a small, dusty town called Nazareth, tucked away in the hills of Galilee, lived a young woman whose name would echo through eternity. Mary was an ordinary Jewish maiden, likely in her early teens, betrothed to a carpenter named Joseph. Her days were filled with the simple routines of village life, drawing water from the well, grinding grain, and preparing for her upcoming marriage. She could not have imagined that her life was about to be transformed in the most extraordinary way possible. One day, as Mary went about her daily tasks, the unimaginable happened. The angel Gabriel appeared before her, bringing a message that would alter the course of human history. His greeting was startling. "Greetings, favored one. The Lord is with you." These words troubled Mary deeply. She was confused and frightened, wondering what such a greeting could possibly mean. Gabriel reassured her, saying, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God." Then came the announcement that would define her existence. She would conceive and bear a son, and she was to name him Jesus. This child would be called the Son of the Most High, and his kingdom would have no end. The significance of this moment cannot be overstated. God chose Mary not because she was powerful, wealthy, or influential, but precisely because she embodied humility and faith. Her selection demonstrates a recurring biblical pattern. God works through the unlikely, the overlooked, and the humble. Mary's response to this divine interruption reveals her remarkable character. Rather than dismissing the message as impossible or refusing the call out of fear, she asked a practical question. "How will this be, since I am a virgin?" When Gabriel explained that the Holy Spirit would accomplish this miracle, Mary's response became a model of faithful surrender. "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." This encounter presented genuine challenges. Mary faced potential social disgrace, the risk of Joseph divorcing her, and even the possibility of being stoned for suspected adultery, according to Jewish law. Yet she chose faith over fear, purpose over safety, demonstrating that true faith often requires courage in the face of uncertainty. I need you to provide a specific heading to expand. The topic you've given me is the overall subject about Mary's journey, but you haven't included the actual heading that needs to be expanded in the quotation marks. Please provide the specific outline heading you'd like me to expand into a detailed script section. For example, it might be something like, Mary's early life in Nazareth, the Annunciation and Mary's response, the Magnificat, Mary's song of praise, Mary at the crucifixion. Once you provide the specific heading, I'll expand it into a 350 to 400 word script section following all the requirements you've outlined. Mary lived in Nazareth, a small, relatively insignificant village nestled in the hills of Galilee during the 1st century. This was a time when the Roman Empire dominated the Mediterranean world, and Jewish communities lived under occupation, clinging to their traditions and awaiting the promised Messiah. Nazareth itself was so unremarkable that it's barely mentioned in historical records outside the Gospels. Yet this humble setting would become the birthplace of Christianity's most pivotal story. As a young Jewish woman in 1st century Nazareth, Mary's daily life revolved around domestic responsibilities and religious observance. She would have drawn water from the village well, prepared meals, woven cloth, and learned the Torah's teachings about her people's covenant with God. Women in her community typically married in their mid-teens, and Mary was betrothed to Joseph, a carpenter, following the customary arranged marriage practices of her time. This betrothal was legally binding, though the couple wouldn't live together until after the formal wedding ceremony. The significance of Mary's background lies precisely in its ordinariness. God chose to enter human history not through royalty in Jerusalem or religious elite in the temple, but through a virgin in an obscure village. This reflects a consistent biblical pattern where God works through the unlikely and unexpected. Mary's humble circumstances made her the perfect vessel for demonstrating that divine purpose isn't limited by social status or geographical importance. First-century Jewish women faced considerable social constraints. They had limited legal rights, received minimal formal education compared to men, and were primarily valued for their roles as wives and mothers. Yet Mary's response to Gabriel's announcement reveals a young woman of remarkable spiritual depth and courage. Her immediate question, "How will this be since I am a virgin?" showed both practical understanding and willingness to comprehend God's plan, while her acceptance, "I am the Lord's servant," demonstrated extraordinary faith despite the potential social consequences she faced, including possible accusation of adultery and abandonment by Joseph. Mary's background thus establishes the profound paradox at Christianity's heart: infinite divine power manifesting through finite human weakness. I notice that the heading to expand appears to be empty in your request. You've provided the main topic about Mary's journey, but there's no specific outline heading between the quotation marks for me to expand. Could you please provide the specific outline heading you'd like me to expand? For example, it might be something like Mary's call and initial response, the Annunciation, Gabriel's visit, Mary's faith during trials, the Magnificat, Mary's song of praise, or any other section from your outline. Once you provide the specific heading, I'll expand it into a detailed 350 to 400 word script section following all the content requirements you've outlined.